fruit man at the corner the other day, and he was standing there with his banana wagon. I says to him, "Give me a pound of tomatoes, please." And he said, "That'll be 75 pence. I said, "You know what to do with your tomatoes?" And he said, "I'm sorry, there's a 90 pence cucumber up there already." Then I went into this supermarket and the shelves were all empty. And I says to the girl behind the counter, "Could you give me a tin of apple?" She says, "Have you got a dog?" I says, "Sure, I've got a dog." She says, "Well, you have to bring your dog down to the store, 'cause the apple's awful scarce." I went in the next day and I said, "Will you give me a can of kitty cat?" And she said, "Have you got a cat? You'll need to bring your cat down. It's terribly scarce." I went in the next day with a brown shopping bag and I says to the girl behind the counter, "Put your hand in there, dear. Do you feel anything?" She said, "Oh yes, there's something long and soft." And I says to her, "Okay, give me a roll of toilet paper." And I went to one of these cocktail dances, and it was lovely. It was really beautiful. They had some lovely cocktails there. They had what they called a card table cocktail. One drink and your legs folded up. Then they had what they called a donkey cocktail. 2 drinks and you were on your arse. And I met this fella at the cocktail party and he says to me, "Would you like to be a model?" I said, "Oh, I'd love to be a model." He said, "Would you sit for me for £5? I said, "I'd lie down for 30 shillings. And he says to me, "I'd love to paint you in the nude." And so I says to him, "Please yourself." So he started to take his clothes off. I said, "You better keep your socks on." And he said, "Why?" I said, "You'll need somewhere to keep your brushes." Of course, to be a model, you've got to have a good figure. My man said to me, "You've got a figure like a corporation boss." And I said, "Aye, maybe so, but you're not getting on enough for 10p. Now, to get into this profession, you must have a very strict medical." And I went into the doctor, and he said to me, "Strip your clothes off," and he examined me, and he said, "You're going to have a baby very soon." And I said, "How soon?" And he said, "As soon as I get my clothes off." You know, it's a hard life. My wee boy, he was just 3 last week, and for his birthday we decided to let him go to the toilet all by his little self for the first time. So he toddled off to the toilet. He got up to the pan and he placed his wee willy in the porcelain, and the seat fell right on top of it. And he come out crying and he says to me, "Mammy, you going to kiss it and make it better?" You know, when you raise a family, you've got to take any kind of job. It's an awful hard life. I took a job in a sex shop, and a fella come up to me and he said, "Would you give me 3 contraceptives, miss?" And I said, "Don't you miss me." And he says, "Okay, give me 4. And then I took a job as a waitress. Oh, it's a real hard life. I was walking along carrying my tray up to this fella, and he said, "Hey, you don't look too well." And I said, "No, I don't feel too well. I got a wee touch of the heartburn." And he said, "No wonder, your left thingy's in the soup." Then I says to him, "There's not very much in the menu today. I've just scratched something you like." He says, "Okay, wash your hands and give me a boiled egg." And then this other couple come in one day, and the girl said to me, "Would you stick this powder in my man's soup? I got it from my doctor to get his back up. So I put it in the soup and he won't know he's taken it." So I gave it to the chef and I said, "Stick this powder in that man's soup." So we waited half an hour for the soup, and I went back to the chef and said, "What's about that fella's soup?" And he says, "I'm awful sorry, I can't get the noodles to lie down." Well, anyway, to change the subject, when I got married I got 99 presents. It was a box of tea bags. Then I says to my sister, "I got 99 presents when I got married." She says, "You're lucky. When I got married I only got 2 presents." I said, "What were they?" And she said, "A nightgown and a book on how to play golf. If my man lifted that book as much as he lifted my nightdress, he would be the Open champion today." Then I went down to London one day, and you know, it's a terrible place if you don't have any money. I was walking along Soho there trying to make a shilling or 2. This fella come up to me and he said, "I've only got 2 shillings. And I said, "That's okay, I've got change." Then I met this American sailor. for the first time. And he said to me, I knew you were Scotch by the way you rolled your R's, and I thought it was my high heels. He says to me, do you smoke after sex? I says, I don't know, I've never looked. Then he says, I come off a naval destroyer. Do you know what a naval destroyer is? And I said, aye, that's a hula hoop with a nail in it. I'll never forget when this new decimalisation came in. I was getting robbed right, left and centre. I met this old fella one day and I said, look, stick to the old money. He said, what do you charge in the old money? I said, it's £1 in bed, 10 shillings on the couch and 5 shillings on the floor. So he gave me £1 and I jumped into the bed and he said, 4 times on the floor.